We have with us Professor Murugan, Director Student Support Service at the Tamil Nadu Open University, Chennai. Welcome, Professor Murugan.
Thank you, Dr. Mishra.
You have also a wide range of international experience in that. From your international experiences, please highlight the kind of difference that you see in the Indian system of learner support and the system followed elsewhere.
Okay, it's a very interesting question, because when I have been traveling, say in Mauritius or West Indies, other places, I always think that our Indian system needs a lot of improvement in terms of learner support. But when I worked there, I felt that we are all in the same boat. At the policy level, say like University of the West Indies, at the policy level, the focus is learner centeredness, that we have to provide all the facilities to the learners, then all materials will be wrapped around the learners' needs. But when we go for implementation, it does not take place that way. It will be like our own situation. The focus is on course production. Once the materials are produced, the academics feel that their work is over. But we have been trying to tell them that it is just a beginning. Their contribution in terms of course production is just a beginning to take care of the learner needs, because whatever we do in terms of syllabus or even assignments, it is on the basis of our own assumption of the learner needs, not exactly what the learners need. So now, but the different kind of clientele has come up. They say that don't give me what you think I need, you give me what I need. That kind of thing has come up. So if you look at from the perspective of developing and developed countries, developing countries, all of them are almost like are in the same boat. The focus is still on materials production, not on learner support. And at the developed level, like UK Open University and Athabasca Open University, because of the technological advancements, they are giving more support to the learners. The main kind of difference is perhaps our own distances. Being a huge country, and the number of people that we seem to cover is huge, and the kind of languages we need to cater to again in plenty. Other countries, they do not have this kind of problem. Say like West Indies, the total strength, it may not be more than say 10,000, and that itself they feel it is a huge number. But in our case it is in millions. So in terms of policy, like they are like us, that it should be learner centers. In terms of implementation, again they are like us, because the focus is more on course production than on learner support. In terms of technology, they are little more advanced than we are. In terms of number, distances, languages, there is no comparison. We are doing much better than many of the countries that in the developing world, because if you compare even Nigeria, which is another very thickly populated country, the learner support is as weak as ours.
You hinted towards the developed countries using technology for the learner support system. How do you visualize the use of technology in providing overall learner support system, and also providing learner support in academic counseling sessions?
Okay. First thing, I always believe technology is just a tool. It is as good or as bad as the person who is behind the tool. Perhaps you can give all the third generation gadgets to the people. If I cannot use them, then technology does not help anything. Given that, to me, how we can reach our students, both in terms of academic counseling or even other ways of supporting them, a simple mobile phone will help quite a lot. And people always think that it is kind of hype, that we cannot use it. But even the penetration level, everybody uses the mobile. The penetration level is very high, and even the Indian government says by 2010 about half the population of India will have mobile phones. The problem there is we are using it only for the voice. Now if we can use some data also, like SMS, MMS, it can reach many people. So technology can be used that way also. Even through simple mobile phones, one can use it. Or if you take our it is used to be called a very old technology like radio, how we can use radio innovatively so that it can reach many people. So, I am not looking at the technology in terms of PDA or BlackBerry or that kind of thing. Even simple technologies can be used in a more innovative way so that it reaches the people, not only for academic counseling, for any other purpose, as long as it supports the student.
In the learner support system, the academic counselors play a very vital role.
That is true.
And they perform a variety of roles as academic counselors.
Exactly.
Could you highlight the specific roles they perform?
Right now, as I see, one is they are playing a kind of surrogate role of a teacher. Then they have to do a role of an evaluator, and also a role of kind of a mentor. That way, I will explain this, how they doing this, I mean kind of carrying out these roles. As a teacher, in spite of all whatever we say that the materials are self-learning and teacher built-in materials, students, they ask for some teaching, some explanations and all these things, either because the materials are not self-learning in nature, or because the students do not find it interesting to read. So, they will always depend on the teachers, like our tradition has been such. They come to the classroom with a hope that the teachers will teach. So, they are compelled to teach in spite of the fact that we say they are academic counselors. So, they teach, and but within a short period they have to cover the whole syllabus. That is the kind of expectation. So, they do. In terms of evaluators, all open universities have assignments as a continuous evaluation process. But depending on the course requirement, it can be 2 or 3 per course. The counselors are asked to evaluate that one. So, they have to grade them, and that is they think, or most of the students also think, grading or marking is the only way that we can assess somebody's performance. And the third, it is part of the assignment evaluation, but I look at it from a different way in terms of mentoring, that the counselors are required to write comments. In a classroom situation, that if marks are less than what I expect, perhaps I can get up and ask the teacher, I expected this much, why, but I did not get it, what is the problem? Or if the teacher writes that it is inadequate, I can always ask the teacher in a classroom why it is inadequate. But in our context, distance learning context, it is not available. In order to mitigate this or to compensate for the absence of the teacher always with the students, we require the counselors to write the comments of various types. Instead of saying inadequate, the person has to write why it is inadequate or how it can be made adequate. Supposing a student says that feels that something is inadequate, I do not think that student will write it, he will write something more. Just because I do not know what is adequate, I have written it. So, I see the counselor's role in terms of teaching role, as an evaluator and as a mentor. But if you ask me whether it happens, I think I have my own reservations on that.
No, most of these academic counselors are drawn from the conventional system.
That's true. That's true.
And they have their own ways of doing things. We all do.